Hello, my beautiful people. My name is Rodney. I'm duly enrolled in Naturopathic Medical School as well as acupuncture program. So my intention for this video today is to expand your awareness of environmental factors. I took a course a few quarters ago now, where we discussed the impact your environment may have on your health and your health outcomes, and how it may lead to things such as toxic burden, which is, and when there's an kind of like an exhaustive list or of environmental factors that may be impacting your health, or making it more difficult to find solace or relief when undergoing treatment. So how that may look is water quality. I live here in Arizona, and this is probably the worst water that I've ever experienced. It has a lot of chlorine in it and a lot of other chemicals. If you were unaware, every city, you should be able to go on their website or the city's website, and look up the water quality in your area, which is really important because if you, for instance, if you end up buying a water filter, not all filters are created equally, and so some filters may work better in areas or be more effective depending on the dissolved solids that may be in your water. So like they have these little monitors that you can buy like on really anywhere online, these TDS sensors, where you can test the water to see how many total, what the TDS stands for total dissolved solids, are in your water. And then looking at that and looking at the quality report or the water report. Here in Arizona, when I first moved here, when I first started the program, there were some metrics that were like 10 times the legal limit or 500 times, and which begs the question, why is that okay, and why unacceptable within our communities? But that's another subject or topic for another day. But anyway, so your water can have various chemicals or total dissolved solids that may be impacting your health. A lot of them are attributed to be endocrine disruptors, which your endocrine system basically is everything that incorporates your hormones. So you see a lot of women now speaking up about their experiences with PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome, and how that essentially is a dysregulation or dysfunction with their hormone system. And so I think of this regulation as being like your body or your system is working, but it is inefficient or ineffective. And dysfunction, I think of it as being more like it's not working or it's turned off altogether. So what they may look like, as an analogy, is like you have a car that you're driving around, you're going from city to city, and your gas tank is really, really low. I mean, it's working, but is it at its optimal performance? No, versus like, and that's more so being dysregulated versus dysfunction being like your battery is dead and the car won't start. You have to get a jump to start the car, and that's more of a dysfunction. Um, Also, we spoke of like how different pesticides and herbicides can um, end up in crops or run off into water, and how that also can disrupt your immune system, endocrine system as well, and how with the pesticides and herbicides being in the food sources, that essentially is contaminating your consumption or the food that you need to fuel yourself and to get all these processes working. And we also talked about how like the sun, this is my own personal thing. I know there's like a lot of emphasis on using sunscreen and using certain fabrics to block out the sun or to kind of shield you from the sun. And I don't know, I just kind of beg the question of like, is it the sun itself that causes skin damage or skin cancer or any of these other skin disorders, or is it the chemicals that we're placing on our body, whether that's like the different sunscreens or sun tanning lotions, or even the fabrics that you wear? Like a lot of stuff nowadays are made, a lot of textiles are made out of polyester, which is essentially oil or plastics, or you see a lot of these big name brand companies in athletic wear that are using like recycled plastic as a marketing to for their clothes, or that's how they have made the fabrics or the textiles for their clothes. And all of those, if you're sitting out in the sun and you're baking and you have the sunscreen on and the suntan lotion on, and you have these polyamide and polyester fabrics on you, and you're just sitting in the sun, your pores become more exposed and opened. And if you look at any type of oil, when it gets hot, it melts, so like your clothes may not necessarily be melting off of you, but they're expelling, gases or other chemicals that can seep into your skin. And I don't know, I just kind of think that may be more of the source of some of the issues that people experience that are attributed to the sun. And you hear a lot of people now too, and this kind of came out a lot during COVID, of there being a societal deficit with vitamin D, and how how that can be correlated to various health disparities. And the thing about vitamin D is vitamin D works both as a hormone and as a vitamin. So it has a lot of functions in it, and it kind of works as a cofactor in a lot of different cellular processes within the body. And if you want to refrain from supplementing your vitamin D intake, and venture towards doing more outdoors activities or sitting in the sun to acquire that vitamin D. If you're wearing sun lotions and sunscreens and other things that may block the ability of the sun to penetrate into the cells, then you're essentially, it's ineffective as a form of therapeutic. Also too, depending on where you are located and what time of the year it is, like if the sun, if you're in a place that's more northern, yeah, it may be sunny outside, but if the rays are not at a specific angle, then they're not able to penetrate the cells in order to initiate that process of sequestering vitamin D and breaking it down and all that stuff to bring it into its active form to be useful within the body. Just food for thought. Also, just kind of being vigilant and making yourself a more conscious consumer by reading labels and even looking up the culture of some of these companies to see if their values align with you. There's a really good source. It's the EWG.org, and they have a lot of resources on there that kind of for education, where you can learn about water quality and different filtration systems, whether it's being if it's reverse osmosis versus a carbon filter versus distillation, and just to kind of give a general highlight to that, reverse osmosis essentially filters all the water out and removes the most from water. So total dissolved solids, chlorine. But the thing about reverse osmosis, I know there's a lot of like water systems that you can either can install in your house, or you can like go to some of these grocers out there that also they may have a reverse osmosis system where you can like bring a gallon and refill it. The thing that you want to be aware of with that is that that water is like void of anything, so it is beneficial to either remineralize it, or if they have an option where there is remineralization added as a secondary step or like a last step, then you may want to opt to that, because there's this thing like with tonicity in the body, and essentially tonicity is like how osmosis works, like how water or fluids get in and out of a cell. So if you don't have any solids in the water, that can create an issue in tonicity and like how your cells are actually able to receive the water, because water concentration goes from highest to lowest solute, so it's going to go to where the solutes are, and it kind of has to do with protein. Okay, that's another. I digress from that, but it's something to be aware in that regard. There are also too, I know there's like a surge of people like wanting to detox themselves from parasites, and wow, my neighbor's dog is wilding. Okay, there is a emphasis on detoxing, like whether that's through sauna therapy or herbal remedies, teas and tinctures. There's a lot of different options out there, but one thing to be aware of with that is that the fat cells actually store toxins. So people that undergo like dramatic weight loss, or they are, even when you exercise or you're sitting in a sauna, essentially you're like igniting and warming up those fat cells, or burning fat, and those toxins can be released into the bloodstream. And the issue with that potentially is that if you don't have a way to eliminate those toxins, and they'll just recirculate within the bloodstream and then redeposit somewhere else. And so you may not actually ever be ridding yourself of the toxins. So binders can look like like fats, like different oils can bind to toxins, certain toxins. Carbon activated charcoal can bind as well. And if you're gonna opt for like the charcoal, they have like these little capsules that you can buy in most stores, like in the health food sections, that you want to take them away from supplements. Like if you take supplements or medication, then you want to have like maybe about a 2 hour window um, before partaking, because carbon or the activated chocolate would essentially bind to everything, and it won't necessarily discriminate on like what is deemed as toxic to you, or like any other solutes or minerals or vitamins that you may be ingesting that you want to keep within the cell or within your body. So just a little tidbit on that. See if there's anything else I wanted to highlight. Oh, with food quality, that is a very there's a lot of nuance within food sourcing. So whether it's like organic versus conventional, if it's in your wheelhouse to do, I would opt towards getting organic produce, or if you have a local farm or a farmer's market, and are you able to establish a relationship with someone in your community, I would generally opt to go that route, just to kind of, for one, if you go to like a farmer or a farmer's market, the food is more fresh. So like a lot of times how when food or produce is in the grocery store, it may have been away from the vine or from the root, or picked sometimes as much as a month before it actually ends up in the store and on your table. Because things are picked oftentimes before they're ripened, and then they have to be preserved in a way so that they have an extended shelf life, or whether that's be through refrigeration or other chemicals or sprays that may preserve or maintain their quality, that you want to, so like it's a lot of steps and a lot of hands and maybe touching that produce before it ultimately ends up in your kitchen. And so as close as you can get to its source is better, and can have a huge impact on your health, because food is medicine. So I know, I just feel like in our society there's this separateness, or this reductionistic perspective with a lot of things, like conventionally pesticides and herbicides are sprayed on produce to alleviate pests and other insects or wildlife that may be attracted to it, and then but there's like, for whatever reason, there's no implication that, oh, I am an organism as well, and those chemicals may also disrupt something within my own self. Like we have a gut flora, which has bacteria, and those are also microbes and small organisms that have that need certain things in order to survive. And the gut flora and your gut bacteria is ultimately helping you. That's helping you break down food. Some of them help you increase your absorption of certain minerals. So there's like this symbiotic relationship that can be disrupted by all of by what we consume, whether that's orally or through food or through drink or through air quality. Um, and so it is important to be cautious and vigilant in where you source your goods. I would say it would be the moral of the story. And as I'm going through this program, I'm starting to gain a greater reverence to the interconnectedness of nature and and ourselves. I mean, there really isn't a separation, or it shouldn't be. And you're starting to see some of that change, where we're getting more. There's this collective shift that is happening, where people are beginning to demand and advocate for quality and for transparency and more integral decision making, which makes me hopeful for the future and what that may look like, and how medicine may look, and our ideal and perspective of therapy, and how we go about treating communities. But yes, I'm starting to see that a lot of disease and dysfunction within the body, at its root, is either attributed to something autoimmune related, or some dysfunction or abnormality within the endocrine system, which all the things that I've aforementioned have a vital role on how that manifests itself. But yeah, that I will link some of the resources that I use in the description, and you can take what you need and leave the rest. I hope that is helpful and kind of gives you more of a broad or zoomed out perspective of and tools to advocate for your own well-being and wellness.